For the longest time, troops had a very simple structure. Now that has changed. Hey, ScouterStan, want to talk a little bit about how girls are now a part of the scouting program. Before we get into all of those details, which a lot of people are not aware of, we're going to talk a little bit about the live show. We had a problem with one of our live shows where we had a flare from the sun that actually disrupted the code. And because I did not have a third party, another sign-on, I didn't know I wasn't live. So I went ahead and did a 30-minute live talk like we're doing right now. It never got out there. I have no idea where it ended up. The handshaking between the two lasted for a total of 2 seconds and got lost. But we've worked out those problems. Okay, but we have a live one coming up. We're going to check that out. It's October 2nd. I'll make sure it gets put up there. It's October 2nd at 9 o'clock. That's when we do our live show. And we do these every first Sunday of the month. Now, during the live show, there's a lot of chances for you to ask questions, and then I can respond directly. That's a wonderful thing about the live show. It literally is live. You're seeing me live, and we're actually interacting live. I love that. I think that's a great thing, and I plan to keep going with it. That might even change down the road. So it might put more, might just stop completely, but you got to let me know in the comments. But that being the case, I also want to say thank you to everyone that has joined the channel, and I want to thank you for subscribing, and I want to make sure that all of my Patreons, because they see this before you do, I want to thank them for their continuing financial support. That is greatly appreciated. Now with scouting, we now have girls directly involved in troops. It started off with Cub Scouts, where pack dens could be all girls, and they would cross over to an all-girl troop. A lot of scouters thought that it was going to be co-ed with girls and boys in the same unit. That does not work. There's been some studies with that, and with the younger people coming in from Cub Scouts, they want the environment to be same sex. So that's one of the things that they experimented with, and it didn't work. So they knew that that was not going to be the way to go. So they have a troop that's all boys or all girls. Now there is some things that have kind of changed as far as the structure. Now back on that particular subject of them doing experiments, scouting has always had young people in mind, boys and girls. So I'm going to put it up there, okay? That's a video on venturing, okay, and exploring. And those two are co-ed, where you have boys and girls in the same unit. And because of that, there's no difference in rank advancement. The same requirements for the boys is the same requirement for the girls. It's the same requirements all across. There is no specific girl requirements or boy requirements. They are the same. Now a lot of parents, I had to tell them, I says, don't worry, the girls are not going to do anything your boys can't do. And that changed their point of view. Okay, scouting for youth should be the same across the entire program. Now when they first started off putting out this program, they wanted the same exact structure. Each unit should be independent. That meant that your charter organization and your committee and your leadership, adult leadership structures were the same as a regular unit, so that it was independent. It was all kept the same structure. Now this structure requires that the youth elect a senior patrol leader. For the girls in their troop would have a senior patrol leader, and the boys do too. Now this is true for all of the elected positions within the individual units. The Patrol Leaders Council will also meet for that individual unit. And this would have all of the other elected positions and appointed positions that are part of the unit's administration from the youth. Now that still means that a troop that is boys and girls, there's no such thing as a co-ed where boys and girls are in the same troop. They are separate. Now there is a thing called a linked unit. This means that the charter organization administers and gives a facility to both boy troops and girl troops together. As linked through that charter, they could either have the same committee for both troops. Now, each troop should have its own scoutmaster that is specific to that troop. But a lot of times there will be the assistant scoutmasters working with both troops. This is all defined by the charter organization and the troop committee. Now I do have a chart that simplifies this. This has just come out and a lot of people are confused about it. So let's go ahead and put it up on the screen. And I'm going to look at it on my little tablet. Now on this chart, you're going to see what are Scouts BSA linked troops. You know, what is this? That's the thing. A lot of people may not understand how this structure works. Now on this chart, you will notice that on your left hand side, you will see the standard troop structure that is there from a charter organization that has 2 standalone troops. On the right side, you will see linked troops. And what that is talking about is when the committee is shared between both a boy and a girl troop. That is the real structure between the two. And when you look at this chart, you'll notice that on that right-hand side, it literally has the troops defined. There's a red line in between both. The program needs to be separate. Now this could mean that they could share resources, like for instance if they're going camping or if they're going on a camporee, they could share some of the resources like the tents or the cooking equipment or any of the dining flies. You know, that kind of stuff can be shared. But each unit, the boy unit and the girl unit, could choose to use the equipment. When the other unit isn't using it, they could use the equipment for an adventure that they're on their own as a troop. And having the committees work out all of the difficulties in between the two units is very important. Some linked units will even have their meetings at the same time. This makes it very convenient for families that have a son and a daughter go to their respective troop meetings at the same time. It makes it very easy for that to work. And it's wonderful because then you've got the parents, and the parents are your adult leaders. So that's the wonderful thing. There's a synergistic relationship there where you could really get a lot going for the benefit of both the girls and the boy troops. That is a wonderful situation with a linked troop. But always keep in mind that the boy troop and the girl troop are separate as far as their advancement. They're separate as far as all of their inner troop activities. The senior patrol leader is in charge of their unit, whether it be a boy unit or a girl unit. That is critical. And of course, as adults, we're always concerned with YPT. We need to make sure that that's always enforced. Now again, the troops can work out their schedule so that they support one another. That's true of the linked troop. If you have the more traditional independent troops, that's not even an issue because they're separate completely. With a linked troop, you can kind of use the resources between the two. This is something that the BSA has developed. It is something that has come out of necessity. Like I said earlier, a lot of times if you have boys and girls, as the parents come in, they want to put them in both units, okay? And that's the beauty of this linked system. It actually affords that. It allows that to happen. But they need to be independent. They have to have their own leadership, their own meetings. Now down below, I'm going to put where it says more, I'm going to put links in there, like always, of where you can get this chart. It is being stored on the BSA website, and there will be more information as it comes out. But always keep this in mind. The girls and the boys both have their separate own youth-led activities. Okay? They don't do them together unless they're linked. They can use the same meeting place, but they have their own leadership. They have their own things that they do for advancement, for their schedule, for camping, and for all of those things. Those are things that are kept separate, and there's many reasons. Okay, so that is one of the things that scouting is, it's well over 100 years old, and we have tried things, and we have tried systems and stuff that have failed. Okay, we're fine with that. Okay, we learn from that. And using the Scout Oath and Scout Law and being courteous and kind to one another, this is something we could work out. Okay, and out of necessity, the Linked Troops has come up. You will have questions. Please put them in the comments, and I will try to answer them the best I can. Please remember the Scout Oath and Scout Law, and that is always important. When you're dealing with youth, when you're dealing online, and when you're asking me a question, I kind of expect that. So with that, I know you do hard work and good work. So keep up that for America's youth. They need it, and they appreciate it, and I appreciate you. So thank you so much, and I will see you on the trail.